So it's wonderful to be here. We were here a year ago, and honestly, I'm just happy to be here again. It's been, as you can imagine, quite a wild ride this year. It's been an enormous amount of effort, very, very interesting, and I'm going to tell you all about it. But first, I think it's worth reflecting, why are we in this room? There's 150 odd senior leaders of the helicopter industry here. And it's very interesting. I think we all probably share a passion for aviation. Certainly we want to make money. We want to get things done. And all of us are curious. We want to find out what's happening in this industry. What are the OEMs doing? What are the bankers doing? We just heard from a lot of them, which is good. The more bankers I see, the happier I am. And they're happy with a stable, secure industry. Ultimately, we want to produce results for our customers, and we're all customers or suppliers of each other. And really critically, we want to see our people get there and back safely and our payload get there and back safely. And this is a wonderful forum for it. So my thoughts and inputs today are really just a small part of that, and we've had some very interesting discussions already. Really, really, really insightful, and hopefully I can add to that. So I think it's important to reflect why we're here. That's my view. GDHF view, and hopefully it's a view of most of you here. We heard boring and stable, and that's good. But those who remember the bad days, and they were bad for a long time, the Q4 2014 slowdown, the oil shock, a variety of reasons, preceded by a lot of, let's call it, irrational exuberance. If we look at some of the metrics today, the industry's in good shape. We're seeing flying hours up, we're seeing fleets fully utilised, we're seeing orders rising in a very calm way. We're seeing OEMs making money, we're seeing most of the industry making money. MROs are busy, it's hard to get slots, it's hard to get parts. We're seeing interesting activity, we're seeing end users order. In general, we're seeing robust activity for at least 3 years now, and that's good. Capacity is tight. If you look at the metrics and just the commentary around that, the operator fleets are fully utilised, the lessor fleets are fully utilised. We're seeing, commensurate with that, simple economics, supply and demand, we're seeing end user rates go up. And that's great, because what we saw in the downturn, let's call it 15 through 20, is a lot of people providing helicopter services below cost. That was unsustainable. We saw that. Chapter 11s, distress, orders getting cancelled, people leaving the industry, really, really difficult times. So that's good, because essentially what end users and customers are paying for helicopter services ripples through the value chain of the industry. MROs, financiers, operators, even brokers, everyone has to make money, all the way back to the OEM and the OEM suppliers. But actually, there's probably more headroom here. We're seeing nominal rates, I think about offshore, at about where they were in 2014, but only in some jurisdictions. In a lot of jurisdictions, they're still quite low. Inflation adjusted, we're still well below we were at the previous market peak. So we think there's more to go. And it's not just rates, we're seeing better terms and conditions. The hideous termination of convenience is less common. We're seeing a general, more operator-friendly contracting structure. And that's all broadly good. If you haven't been asleep for the last 4 months, you'll have noticed the world has changed. It's been tumultuous. You can call it the Trump presidency, but in fact, there's a lot going on. We've got hot wars going on, we've got tariff wars, we've got a lot of geostrategic risk. We're seeing a reordering of the macroeconomic set of rules that have been with us for decades. And I'm reminded of, in the military, we used an acronym called VUCA. And that was a leadership exercise, is how do we deal with a world that's volatile, where things are uncertain, where there's complexity and ambiguity. We live in a VUCA world. It's really, really uncertain where we're going to be in a year, 2 years, 3 years. That's not just oil price. That's just, is there going to be a wider war? Are we going to have a global recession? So some of this is noise. So we have to look to the data and we have to look at our settings. We're in an industry, and the bankers talked about it, and that's great, where the helicopters mostly have to fly. And certainly as a lessor, you want to be in that mission critical space where, and we saw that during COVID, the portfolios performed. The missions still had to be performed. People still had to get out to oil rigs. EMS was still happening. Search and rescue is still happening. Governments. So these are the spaces we want to be in. So even though we have a lot of risk, and it's not just the big picture, geostrategic, macroeconomic, right down to supply chain. Will OEMs still be able to support legacy products? That risk has bitten us in the last few years. Is that going to continue? There's many. So the way we like to think about it is, can we look through the noise, can we look through the VUCA and look at the data? The data's pretty good. What we do know is the fleet needs replacement. Broadly, across the helicopter industry. And a lot of this is because the sustained underinvestment between 2015 and 2020 in helicopter numbers. We saw very, very small amount of deliveries, certainly in the offshore space, heavies, super mediums, even mediums were well down. Now, no one wants to see what we saw 12, 13, 14, which was really over-exuberance. We had private equity piling in, we had very frothy deals, we had everyone ordering, we saw a lot of excitement. But, and thank you, Steve, for the great data, by the way. We know that helicopters age, standards changed, IGP 690. We know that every generation of helicopter technology is a step change in safety and efficiency. So replacement's critical. That's already happened in the heavy space, and my colleague Pat talked about this already. You know, the glide slope of that is debatable. The outcome is certain. There's a couple of dynamics going here. There's the simple math. We can see, 15 or 20 units a year. They're not going to vanish in thin air. Some will get parted out. Some will hit the 30,000 hour limit when I think about the heavies. Some will go into different missions, and some will stick around for maybe longer than 20 years. There's also a qualitative element. I think all the OEMs are struggling with supply chain support now. The 92 is a fantastic aircraft, has been for a long time. It's a pickup truck of the industry. It's the vast majority of the long-range offshore fleet. Is it being supported well enough? Have the end users lost confidence with this product? Is the transition going to occur faster than the mechanical age-out would suggest? These are questions to consider. And certainly end users are making those decisions independently and collectively. But it's happening. And if we look at the universe of 92 operators, and again, thanks Steve and LCI Linux, those bubbles will get bigger for super medium in the years ahead. The trend is clear. The medium numbers are really interesting. And thanks Sarah and Cerium. So there is a surprisingly large number of legacy types. If you walk back 15 years, you actually had 4 active OEMs supplying into the medium space. When I think about offshore, we have Bell 412s, Sikorsky S76s. I think there was like 776 family. There's a lot in offshore. And N3s, N2s, H155s, you name it. Their end was not gradual, linear. It was a waterfall in some places. There's still legacy equipment flying around that is really not meeting modern standards. And we see those retiring just from both age, standards, and obsolescence a lot. If you look on the right-hand side, the 1 through 9, fantastic aircraft. It's been the workhorse of the medium space and still is hugely successful. It basically cleaned out the category and took out a lot of those aircraft I just referred to, the legacy types. It's also aging. The short nose, 20 years old. It's hard to believe. Some are exiting. And we look at the numbers, obviously the numbers climbed a lot as we got into 12, 13, 14, but even now we saw a substantial amount 20 years ago going into oil and gas that need replacing. So you look across the heavy and the medium space, we think 10, 15 heavies need to be replaced by super mediums, 30 to 50 mediums across various industries need replacing annually. That's the market need. And some of that will occur faster than the mechanical aging. When a type is no longer supported, when a type is no longer seen as appropriate, it has to transition quickly, either to get chopped up or to a different mission. And the industry's been good, and everyone in this room is part of that solution to transition it to different sectors, firefighting, utility, whatever it might be. So what does that all mean? It's pretty scary, right? The VUCA world, what's going on? Are we going to be at war next year? Are we going to be in global recession? Well, what do we have control of? Everyone in this room is part of the solution for the helicopter industry. We all contribute in a small way. It's a team sport, right? So with GDHF, we took a narrow slice of that and thought, well, we're looking at the data. It's a big universe out there. We want to be in the mission critical space. We see an unmet market need. There's other people ordering. There's other people, ways of getting aircraft. We see OEMs that have emphasised military and other sectors during the civilian downturn. And we went, well, we see an unmet need for metal in mission critical spaces. That's all we're trying to do. And we're just a small part of it. There's enormous lessors here that are doing most of the activity. We're just trying to help the industry in our little way. And we just built a disciplined, tight, rational business model designed to meet market needs in terms of metal and capital, and specifically via order books. Now, order books are a bit scary. They're speculative. You have to put a lot of capital out there. You have to wait. And when the aircraft delivers, you've got to bring money and customer to that aircraft, which means you need a platform. So it's very challenging. We need to be very disciplined about pricing. Dear departed friends at Waypoint and other, there's a lot of lessons around trying to buy market share. We're very disciplined, but we're very market responsive. Earlier this week we announced we're firming up another 10 175s. That takes capital, that takes risk, that takes effort, because we're seeing the demand for that. We think the market needs it. One of the learnings of being in this space is, inside this room is most of the industry leadership. It's a very small industry. And people do business with people, not companies, not monolithic, right? It's very bespoke, it's very human. So we feel that one of our differentiators has to be ease of doing business, speed, agility, so that our customers, whether that be an oil company or an operator or whoever it may be, can rely on a quick, fast, flexible solution. Again, it's not a team sport. It's not an individual sport. It's a massive team sport, and we're super grateful to many, many people. Not everyone's there, especially the customer side, is confidential, but we've had enormous support from the OEMs, from bankers. I know Jorg, super grateful. You believed me and a PowerPoint, so thank you. I think there was an asset involved somewhere, but thank you. We're really appreciative. And many, many other partners, legal, other stakeholders that enabled us to put a platform together, get capital, and of course my owner, Peter, who provided vision. I thought I was crazy. He's crazier, which is fantastic. And really enabled us to kind of put together that entrepreneurial spirit into a platform and a workable plan and bring money and metal. And honestly, on a personal level, very difficult. One of the hardest years of my life. I think I had Christmas Day off. I'm already a pathologically optimistic person, but even I was tested this year. Those who work with me know I'm kind of don't stop. It's been hard. But building a great team has been one of the most rewarding parts of this. And really, you're only as good as the team around you. And this is the GDHF team, but actually, we think about our wider team, financiers, lawyers, board stakeholders. We can't do it without, and our industry partners. And the most satisfying thing for us is a happy customer. Some people have said we disrupt the industry. No, we haven't. We're small. We've boldly executed a very simple, disciplined business plan. And we're taking steps to do that. You can blah, blah on the bar, but actually going out and putting capital down and signing contracts and delivering to customers is what it's about. Because ultimately, your customers and the industry at large will judge you on what did you do? What did you deliver? Were you credible? Were you open? And so at the end of the first year, we built a lease portfolio of about 200 million, pretty small. We're a small fish in the big ocean of big lessors, but we're proud of that. We delivered 4 factory new super mediums in the first 12 months. I think that'd be impressive for any leasing company. A couple of 160s. We've got more coming this month and into the future. That was not easy. Took a strong personal toll. So anyone in the industry that's been supportive, and a lot of you have reached out and been very warm, I'm very grateful. And thank you to the GDHF team who've put up with me. So we're excited about the future, and we want the future to be stable. We don't think we are contributing to euphoria or bubble or over-ordering. Actually, we're concerned about fleet availability for the industry in the future. We're not going to fix that. We're contributing a small amount to it, but we think more metal will be required. Now, that's not totally in alignment with all the views expressed today. I'm very encouraged by the bank panel. We've seen very, very strong growth in interest by banks and financiers just in the last year or so that I've been involved. Previously, life was easier, had a lake of money. We didn't think about it. Now I have to go and find the money. So I'm grateful to those who give me the money. But we're seeing strong increased interest in banks into the space. We hope that we don't see a tsunami of what happened in the commercial aviation space. The Chinese money came, commodified the industry, drove down returns. So we like a disciplined level of banking activity. So that's our story. We try to execute in our business model, which is going to be part of the solution for the industry, where we think the industry needs metal now and in the future. We have built a platform. We're small, but we're getting bigger. And we're excited about the future, and we're very, very grateful for the teamwork from the helicopter industry that has helped us get here today. And in a small, humble way, we'd like to contribute to the future of that helicopter industry. I'd like to open the floor now for any questions.
Yeah, can we put questions up? Have them, and while those questions are going up, can I cheekily invite Michael to mark his own homework over the past year and a bit? What achievements are you most proud of, and what do you think you need to work on in the year ahead?
How long have you got?
2 minutes, because we want to go to their questions. They're more important than mine.
Look, proud of building a team, proud of having the ambition and the hard work to build a network of industry stakeholders and an internal team to deliver results for customers and put together a business plan. Lots to work on, and I think it's about execution and continuing to secure finance and continuing to deliver for our customers.
Thank you for being brief. Tell us more about the love affair with the H175. Well, of course, there was that announcement earlier this week.
So we look at the long-range offshore market, and we see 2 credible super mediums, the H175 and the AW189. They're about roughly 45 units per each in the market. We think those numbers will be well over 100 in the next 5-7 years of both types, right? So we have ordered both. We look at the data around what is required. And just to be clear, we run it essentially, to Pat's very well-made point earlier, the growth scenarios hurt the industry in 12, 13, 14. There was irrational optimism about what the global fleet would climb to. We're running a zero growth analysis and zero growth paradigm in terms of global offshore fleet for all of our business model planning. Even with those constraints, we see that there is a need for super mediums. We're seeing robust growth from all the operators and demand, and we felt that we'd ordered 10 and 10 a year ago, and we felt confident enough in the forward demand that we'd firm up the slots because we think near-term availability of metal is going to be important for all the key operators in the years ahead.
Okay. Last quick question before we break for coffee. Can you give us an update on the H225s announced at Verticon?
Yeah, absolutely. We're working with a very strong OEM partner, Airbus, on this. Look, the 225 has had a renaissance. We've got a couple in Brazil on lease there that might go into oil and gas. Milestone mentioned they've got one in oil and gas. We've seen that asset in other markets in oil and gas. We think it's got a limited, there is appetite for it there. But we think if you walk it forward several years, the long-range heavy mission, there's some missions you just need 250 plus miles. And the 225 is good for that. Are we going to do this speculatively? No. It'll be a crafted project where we'll cooperate with the OEM and end user and operator and we'll finance it with a very specific project in mind or series of projects. But yeah, we're moving the contracting process forward.
Michael York, CEO of GD Helicopter Finance, thank you so much for that presentation and your answers. Thank you.
Thank you very much.